us once again on the stage, the last man to lift the Premier League trophy for Arsenal, Mr. Patrick Vieira, alongside Tim Howard, Robbie Mustoe and Robbie Earle. Patrick, let me come to you first, former manager of Crystal Palace a couple of years ago as well. They'll be happy with the point. What will Manchester United be thinking?
I think Palace will be quite happy with the points. I think when you look at the game, United overall created the best number of chances. And to get a point against United, who are playing to finish in the top 4. So I think on the Palace point of view, they can be pleased with that.
Is the biggest problem for Erik ten Hag the lack of consistency with this team?
There's a lack of consistency, yes. There's a lack as well of killer instinct. I think today they created enough chances to score at least one goal, and they didn't. So I think there's a lack of ruthlessness in the team, the lack of competitiveness, desire to score that goal. They play some really good football. I think we all enjoyed watching them play, but at the end, there's a lack of aggressivity in the opposition box to really score that goal.
I know it's a really hard question because we're using hindsight, but as a former manager, Marcus Rashford had looked like he'd returned to form. And then today, he finds himself on the subs bench and has to come on and try and affect the game. Do you think that was a mistake?
The mistakes? No, I think the manager looking at the week of training, and that will help him to make a better decision. I think Rashford should ask himself why he doesn't start at Manchester United. And I think he has to do more because the manager, I think the fans, the club expect more from him. And I think when you're looking at when he came on today, I felt that he was disappointed. And I think that didn't help him. I think when a player like him coming from the bench, he has to make a point. And making a point is showing that the manager was wrong not to start him. And I think when you look at his performance today, the manager was right not to start him.
Tim, let's stay on the Marcus Rashford point for a second. That's really interesting what Patrick just said there. He has to ask himself why he didn't start. In the press on Friday, Erik ten Hag said he's also got to look at his lifestyle and make sure he's living his life right. What are your thoughts on the Marcus Rashford situation?
Well, look, I think that it's interesting when a manager comes out and talks about a player's personal life. There clearly is something there. We know Marcus is a very private person, which is normal. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you want your goal scorer to score goals. When I asked the chaps about 20 minutes ago, I said, when was the last time Manchester United had a proper striker? You probably have to go back to Wayne Rooney. That's not good enough for Manchester United. Ultimately, when you look at a day like today, and I can tell you, these are midfielders, I'm a goalkeeper. What you want from your striker is to say, don't worry about the rest of the game. We can actually play with 10 men. We'll do the dirty work, but when we give you one chance, we have to know you're going to take it. And right now, Manchester United don't have a striker that you know, even on a tough day, will get you out of jail.
But even though they don't have that striker that will get them out of jail, with the first half chances, they should have won the game, Rob.
They should have. Their football was good. The possession was good. Being clinical in the top end of the pitch is really difficult. Now, I just want to ask you, Patrick, really, if I can throw the question. So, Erik ten Hag's his third season, Pat. How long does it take a manager to put his imprint on a football club? You've managed now a couple of clubs. How long do you feel it takes to put that imprint? And should we be seeing more from Manchester United?
I think you have to look at the investment that made by the club. And when you look at the money that they spent in the last 3-4 years, it's quite a lot. And of course, we expect United to be challenging for the title. And I don't think they will do it this year again. I think they are far behind City and Arsenal. Regarding the players that they went to, I think United has been making too many mistakes. Too many players that they bring didn't perform at that level. And when you're making those kind of mistakes, at the end, it will cost you in the games like that. But again, I think the direction that they take was quite really clear. They went for young players with big potential. And when you wear the United shirt with the pressures coming in behind, it's not that easy. So those players will need time to perform and then to deal with the kind of pressure and the expectation from the fans.
Can I just follow on a point that Patrick made earlier on about the ruthlessness of the finishing. So in that second half there, United have played pretty well today, but I wanted to see more desperation to win the game in the last 20 minutes. Go and win it. Go and finish in the end of the weekend, maybe in the top 6 with that 3 points. It seemed like they're a little easy just to kind of go through the motions and almost settle for a point. The United of old would drive on and really force that win and really do everything they could to try and win the game. I just thought, second half, good performance. Go on then, really force it. I didn't see that desperation in their football and the real desire to win it. Maybe that goes back to the inexperienced front line that don't man quite got yet that how important it is to try and win every game.
Yeah, yet again, another disappointing day for Manchester United. We've had a brilliant day here, though, and loads more still to come. All today's goals are on the way, so don't go anywhere. But I just want to find out the best moment from everybody. Patrick Vieira, I'm going to start by asking you, this is your first Fan Fest. What has been the best moment of your day?
This is the best moment of the day, I would say. What I find quite really amazing is to have all the Premier League teams represented today, and they're all sharing the same passion, supporting the team. And it's quite nice to see fans working around, wearing different jerseys, and enjoy themselves.
Patrick is popular today. Tomorrow's going to be on a whole nother level, by the way. Robbie Mustoe, what about you?
Well, I've had a lovely day today, and everybody's been really great, and the fans have been superb, but I didn't have a great moment. I had a terrible moment, and that crazy mascot called Benji, or Benny, or whatever his name is, he absolutely ruined my day. Absolutely ruined it. Everything was going so well. But to be fair, he did kind of help clean up.
I mean,
the least he could do, by the way. My hair's still got all salt in it. It's just not on.
Always happens to Musty, doesn't it?
Why always me?
Happens to Musty. Robbie Earl.
Well, we started this morning, Becca. We came here. We weren't sure how many fans when it came. And as the sun came up, there was just one point where I looked behind us just to see who was in here. And as far as I could see, there were fans. And fans with a different feel. This feels like a football festival. They're fans by the stage. Their fans look like miles away. They're all enjoying what we brought here to Lincoln Park.
Lovely stuff. Tim, what about you?
Well, I get to be around legends like Patrick, and I got to interview Wes Brown today, who was my big brother when I got to Manchester United, and just reliving those old memories out here with all these fans is really a special moment for me.
Oh, I love that. Reunited with an old teammate at Manchester United. And for me, the moment, I think, is quite a simple image. It was just similar to you. I turned around at about 5 a.m. this morning when they opened the gates. And then that's the picture. People were running in. They're not walking now to FanFest. People are now running to get to the front here behind us at the stage. And I just love them for queuing up since 1 o'clock in the morning. And we're so grateful for all these Premier League fans who have come to support us and support their teams today. So a big thank you to all of you.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And if you want even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.